Hello, Tom Frezza here from the Naval History and Heritage Command, and today we are again going to be cooking with history with a recipe out of the 1945 edition of the Cookbook of the United States Navy. And the recipe we'll be focusing on today is for brownies. Now, the recipe for brownies actually dates back to the 1890s, when Bertha Palmer, whose husband owned the Palmer House Hotel in Chicago, wanted to develop a dessert that could be packaged in boxed lunches that would be handed out during a World's Fair that happened at the same time in the 1890s. And working with a pastry chef, they developed what we know today as the brownie, though theirs had nuts on the inside, but also had an apricot spread over the top of it. And the idea of the brownie and the recipe for the brownie really starts to take off. But it's the versatility and the heartiness and really the fact that it could handle well while traveling. That's what the military kind of liked about the recipe for the brownie. That, and it tasted good too. So that's the reason why it's included in the 1945 edition of the cookbook. Because now the recipe itself in the cookbook can actually be found in the not bread section, but cookie section of the cookbook. Now, we want you to try this at home, and we've actually taken the time to scale down the recipe so you can try it at home. So if you follow along, write it out and give it a try. But we're going to go through the ingredients, tell you what they originally were, and then what the scaled down version is. We'll tell you what the original was, so if you want to make 17 pounds of the mixture, you can. So let's go through the ingredients, and the first one, as it's stated here, is sugar. Originally, 2.5 quarts. We'll be using half a cup and 1 tablespoon. Next is shortening. Originally 1 quart. We'll be using 1/3 of a cup. Next is butter. Originally 1 cup. We'll be using 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon. Next, cocoa. Originally 4.5 cups. We'll be using 6 tablespoons. Followed by syrup, corn. Originally 2 1/4 cups. We'll be using 3 tablespoons. Next on the list is salt. Originally 1/4 cup. We'll be using 1 teaspoon. Followed by flour. Originally 3/4 of a gallon. We'll be using 1 cup. Next is nuts. Originally a half gallon. We'll be using 1 cup. Followed by eggs, whole. Originally 15 eggs. We'll be using 2. Followed by vanilla. Originally a half tablespoon, and we'll be using a half teaspoon. And then finally, water. Originally 1 cup. We'll be using 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon. All right, so here's the makeup of everything. What they want you to do is scale everything out. So measure everything out and mix it, put it into a mixing bowl, except for the nuts, and mix it all together, blend it all together until it comes out nice and into a nice smooth dough. For the makeup, spread the batter out in a greased bun pan and then sprinkle the nuts on top of it. For baking, bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes. Now remember, this is for the larger scale, so it might take less time, it may take a little bit more. Just keep an eye on your brownies just so they don't burn. A good judge is to take a toothpick and, when you think it's done, stick it into the center, and if it comes out clean, you should be good to go. And for finishing, cool, cut into bars, serve. Sounds pretty simple. It's just a bunch of measuring and mixing and baking. So let's get into it and see how these brownies turn out. So our brownie is done. It's out of the oven. It's cooled down a lot, and I've cut a piece off right here, as you can see. It doesn't look too bad. It actually looks kind of thick, a little stodgy. Doesn't really crumble that easily, and really all that's left to do now is give it a try. So here we go. It's kind of bland. Almost like it needs a little bit more sugar or something else. Maybe some chocolate chips in there or something. But it's not bad. It's edible. That's the big thing right there. It's edible. And really, if it was given to me aboard ship, probably wouldn't turn it down. It's it is chocolatey. It's that bitter baking chocolate taste that you kind of get. So if they had something a little bit more sweeter or maybe a little bit more sugar, it wouldn't be too bad. But again, I can see why they serve this up. It's something that doesn't crumble. Sailors could basically, wrap it in a handkerchief and go, and they could have it later. And something tells me this would really stick to your ribs as well. So give it a try. Let us know what you think of it. And tell us how you dressed it up, probably, and what else you could add to it. And with that, it's another recipe out of the 1945 edition of the Cookbook of the United States Navy. For more information, please visit the website of the Naval History and Heritage Command, history.navy.mil, and we'll see you at our next cooking video.